Games, board games. I might be talking about my forthcoming Kickstarter, but I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and then I'm going to try to explain why I'm going to launch 4 different games in one Kickstarter. Why all this at once? I guess I'm just making so many things, and this makes the most sense. Sorry I couldn't think of a rhyme, but hello, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it says, wherever you are. 10 a.m. ish UK time for Busy Beats and Board Game Blether. And today, later on, I'm going to be launching a Kickstarter in a couple of hours, and I'll come back to do a launch event because that's something that I've done in the past and I quite enjoy. I'm planning to launch it in maybe 2-3 hours, around between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. I'm doing a lot of last minute stuff. I'm still putting bits together, but this is a Kickstarter for a game about counting cats, shapes, and colors that keeps getting trickier. A game about cute comical creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises. A game about quickly matching words to pictures, but never words to words or pictures to pictures. And a game about drawing creatures, complementing the drawings and complementing the complements. But all of these are going to be in a brand new boxed version because whilst, a busy bargain bag, I like it. It allows me to print 50 copies of a new game. I mean, I just got 50 copies of a brand new thing I'm going to take to KCON, but as it's nice to have a box, right? But I can't make a box without printing 1,000 at a time. So as I tried to explain yesterday, I am going to be, hopefully, with these 4 games, plus a game about selecting 7 cards, speedily searching for synergies, plus categorical, all of these 6 different things will go into boxes, and then I will be able to... Yeah, there's a car beeping outside. I don't know if you can hear that. But I will finally be able to, print 1,000 combined of these 6 games, a quantity that I can sell relatively easily. Because whilst I am a self-publisher, I'm not currently... I don't have access to distribution channels. I don't even have access to that many retailers, and it's... I'm able to get some people backing my Kickstarter, but I've never gotten something with like 1,000 backers or something like that. So I need to be mindful of how many I print just so that I don't overprint. Let's have a quick step back and talk about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. What did I get up to yesterday? Had a couple of quick walks, which was good. So since I last streamed, went out in the evening, saw the sunset. It was all lovely. This morning, went out for a quick walk around the block. Hooray! Getting down, fire escape coming back up. And yeah, just I was hoping to see the sunrise. I mean, I set my alarm for 10 minutes before the sunrise, but the sun was already properly up. So I guess I need to set it even earlier, like 20 minutes before, I don't know. But I've done a bit of reading. I've been looking through some reviews, and I got a lovely new review from the Hairy Game Lords about drawing creatures, complementing the drawings and complementing the complements, which is just lovely to hear that people agree that it's awesome and they really got into it. Let me talk about brilliant things. Brilliant things. What's a little thing which is brilliant? I mean, reviews are an important thing. I mean, my last Kickstarter, I had 0 reviews, and I still managed to get people backing it, which I'm so thankful for that people are at this point basically trusting me, I guess, that have got some sort of track record, that have made things, that have actually delivered on these things. I mean, except for Categorical, but hopefully that will be put to right within the next few months. Yeah, Categorical just launching at the start of 2020. I thought I would talk a little, but yeah, reviews allow you to have, for, let's say I'm going to a Kickstarter, like the creator could say anything they want. And frankly, I don't think that most people are quite as honest as me. I don't think that most people would ever write a thing of these are reasons that you might not like the game. It's left to me to try and work that out. But if they've got a reviewer who says, hey, this is what's good, this is what's bad, and the reviewer is someone, it's an extra person that I can trust. And so, yeah, reviewers, having those extra people, reviewers, are brilliant. Yeah, let's go with that. And just reviews having that bit of extra information. Like reviews, fundamentally, it's a second opinion. It's not like, even if the main person wasn't trying to deceive, they might be mistaken. They might have, so yeah, having multiple opinions that are a little bit less biased than just hearing about it from the people who made it. So as always, I'll get to the main topic, but feel free to comment, ask questions, follow over the next couple of weeks. If you have any questions about Kickstarter or my designs or these 4 games or anything, put it in the Kickstarter page, I guess, and I will definitely get to all of the questions at some point. Oh, yeah, possibly just in a future stream or whatever. But yeah, let's get to the games. What are the games that I am doing? A game about cute comical creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises. That doesn't rhyme at all. A game about cute comical creatures. They have varying numbers of mouths and emotional features. And someone picks 1 out of 5 randomly. And then everyone listens and then must try to see which one were they trying to impersonate. A bunch of people have played this game and think it's great. So yeah, I'm really happy with the reception for, let me get it out, a game about cute comical creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises. This was a remake of I need to change that title. It's no longer about Categorical, but this was a remake of a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after some makes noises. And the original game, it was something that I thought, oh, this is a bit weird. And it's kind of like when I first made In a Bind, which then became known as Yogi. And In a Bind, let me pop that on like that. Well, now it's called Yogi, let me call it by that. At that time, everyone else was making these strategic games, and I was like, yeah, am I allowed to make a game like this? I mean, I wasn't part of the toy, thing, or like, we didn't have things like Throw for Burrito, where you literally throw stuff at other people, and it's like, yeah, you can do this. And so making something that the only other game I knew of this sort was like maybe Dancing Eggs and Twister, of course. And so being able to make that game and having people playtest it, and similarly for a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises, and then this game actually became Golden Geek nominated. One person on Board Game Geek said, I don't like the art. I want to like this game, but the art's a little bit too creepy for me. That's not their exact words, but that's pretty much what they said. So for that reason, I thought, well, maybe other people feel the same way. Maybe other people don't want to express this opinion because they're worried about it being a bit of an unpopular opinion. But maybe other people would really like something a bit cuter. And so that's what I did. You've got creatures that, they're simplified shapes. They're all colorful, so they're a little bit more friendly. And like before, it's all double-sided, so you've got 80 different creatures, and the entire game is thinking, okay, what noise would this person make? And when I was doing these noises, I did, I actually, unlike the first ones where I just drew it straight onto the page, this one I drew little sketches and then I drew it a second time. And in those sketches, I tried to ponder how many mouths do they have? Let's draw an entire page of things with one mouth, then a bunch of things with two mouths, then three mouths, then a bunch of things with beaks. And let me think about trying to keep some diversity in emotions. Like this one just looks a little bit happy, whereas this one, looks a bit angry, and this one clearly fearful. And the number of beaks, bark, bark. Oh, those are quite similar actually. Bark, bark. But you can't get both of those because they're on the sides of one card. But yeah, that's a game that I'm really proud of, and that's kind of where the Bezzy bargain bags all started. And so I'm bringing it back into print with this boxed version because that's completely sold out. A game about drawing creatures, complementing the drawings and complementing the complements. I've got about 5 copies of this left, and honestly, I might just keep them for personal use because, I want at least one copy for myself, and I would like to, be able to have a copy to give to my mum or whatever. In this game, everyone has to draw a thing using 4 things. For example, ears with a curl, a mouth that is shouting, ridiculously long arms, and giant feet. So even if you aren't the best at drawing, all of these things are fairly simple to draw, and you can, a business jacket, you might not be able to draw it in an absolute stick figure style manner, but a lot of them you could. And hopefully they give you something to inspire you. Something bird-like could be wings, it could be a beak, it could be little birdie feet, I don't know. And there's multiple ways that hopefully these could be interpreted, but it's also about the combination of 4 things, because whilst there's only 50 cards, 52? Yes, 52. So there's only 52 cards, but that makes for a ridiculous number of combinations. That's... yeah, I'm struggling to work it out, but someone else can do the maths. It's like thousands or probably millions of possibilities. And at the end, it's a drawing game. And this was actually inspired by a conversation about a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after some noises. And then my idea was, like, okay, what can you do if, you could get cards that inspire you to draw different things? Because someone said, when I explained my own drawing system where I had different things from a lookup table and that inspired me to draw stuff, people are like, what if we were able to do that with dice? And I thought, well, dice are expensive, but cards could totally work. But that means I need to think of 50 things that are all compatible. So there's no ridiculously long arms and short arms. Obviously, that's right out. But Also, there's no birdie feet and human feet. Like, it's things about every part of the body, from the top to the bottom, going down. And I think it would be a real challenge to think of 50 new ones for these. But, and hello to me, it is lovely to see you. And I'm just talking about a game about drawing creatures, complementing the drawings and complementing the complements. And I think the key thing for me when I was thinking about this game is like, okay, people draw the creature, then what happens? Well, standard game rules, it might be who likes the creature the best, but that feels a bit too much pressure. What if everyone's being complimented? What if we choose the best compliments? And originally, it was a very competitive game where once you'd given the compliments for the drawings, then everyone would vote on that person gave the best compliments, and that person would win the game. And it was like, yeah, I'm the best compliments giver. But then, as I pondered it, it felt like that wouldn't be satisfying. Saying this is the best compliments giver, that doesn't fit the vibe. And so what if we made it even sillier? What if it was drawing creatures, complimenting the drawings, then complimenting the compliments? It's got just enough ridiculousness to kind of be a memorable, silly thing. And it is kind of silly. I mean, complimenting a compliment. But there's value in that. There's value in noticing what someone says about you. There's value in actually listening to something. When someone says, I like the curve of the line on the belly of this creature. When someone else says, oh, I like the way that you put some energy into your jaggy teeth. I have to remember that, because at the end, I have to say, I really like the word that used the word energy within your compliments. That was a really nice compliment. And during that compliment giving, you're just allowed to say thank you, but then there's a bit of a delay and you need to remember it. So there's a little bit of memory, but not too much. I mean, hopefully you just need to remember one of the compliments to compliment them. And this again, this is so unlike, I mean, is it a game? Honestly, if some people want to say it's not a game, I'm totally okay with that. It has rules. It has like that magic circle that everyone agrees to play by these rules when they're playing the game. It describes your agency, and it even has these little tips which are not really important to the game, but before it was first printed, I spent a few days researching compliments and how good compliments are given, and hopefully just reading through these, might help other people, not just in giving compliments in the game, but also generally in life. A compliment is a way of shining a light on what is positive so others can see it clearly. I mean, that's worth remembering. It's not just about, hey, I like that, but hey, I like, the brighter your lights, the more specific the compliments, the better other people can see what you're talking about. And it's a way of sharing that mindset. And, people have told me that they really get a lot of value, that they come out of this game always smiling. And yeah, I'm really proud of it. The next game, this one, I made 2019. Yes, it was a prototype. I think I first invented it possibly at the end of 2018, but it was a prototype and I showed it to a couple of people under the name of Plus in 2019, Essen. It is a game about counting cats, shapes and colors that keeps getting trickier. Back then, I said it would go on to Kickstarter in May 2020, but things happened, like a pandemic and Brexit and things. So on one side of the cards, you've got all these cats. They might be dancing, lying down, or even curled up. On the other side, you've got little icons that show, okay, you will be counting the curled up cats, or you will be counting the lying down cats, and sometimes it's a color. So sometimes it's, okay, you'll be counting the red cats or the purple cats. And each turn, you'll see 2 cards in the middle. For example, if these were the 2 cards, you would say 1 because this one tells you you're counting all the red things. This one shows you 3 cats and 1 of them is red. So if the first person to say 1 grabs the card, and then we flip over another card, and let's say that this time it goes like this. So everyone else would shout 0 because there are 0 purple cats on here, but the first player who got it correct from last time would have to shout 2, because every card you take is another point and another obligation. So yeah, that's basically the whole game. And I am proud of it. I'm happy with it. I'm happy that finally it was able to be made thanks to print on demand, even though it wasn't like a big production like I originally hoped. But people are enjoying it. I think that for a game about counting cat shapes and colours that keeps getting trickier, I did find after UK Games Expo that it was a little bit too tricky whenever 2 things came out. So I tweaked it. So now there's only 1 thing at a time you need to count, and there's also 3 colours so that you can't remember them. That's pretty much it. And if people enjoy it, it could be redone with like more complicated bits or more instructions, or maybe rethemed if people really wanted at some point down the line, like 2 years, when, I don't know. This is my final game that I'm going to be launching on Kickstarter, because again, I'm doing a Kickstarter for 4 games at once. A game about quickly matching words to pictures, but never words to words or pictures to pictures. In this game, you've got some words and you've got some pictures. This word does not describe this picture. However, this word does describe this picture, because this picture is at least partially red. And as soon as you see, okay, there's a match, well, you'll take the top cards of both piles, and maybe there's another match, maybe there isn't. I mean, in this case, there is another match. So you'd shout red again, and then you would grab them. And this is where it gets interesting, where I'm really proud of it, because it takes literally about, firstly, it takes about 3 seconds to set up. Deck on the table, split the deck, boom, away you go. Second, there's a cascade, there's a franticness, because you're taking 2 cards and revealing not 1, but 2 things at a time, then there's a decent chance that something new might match something on one of the other piles. The third bit that I'm kind of proud of is, the fact that it feels so intuitive. As soon as you see, 2 cards like that, you're like, oh, that's red, that's a match. And the game title does tell you basically all you need to know, a game about quickly matching words to words. But, quickly matching words to pictures, I got it wrong. But never words to words or pictures to pictures. Yeah, that's the key thing to remember. And obviously, if you ever match a word to a word or a picture to a picture, then that's a foul and you need to give someone else a card. I mean, it's a minor thing, but it's enough of that you don't want to do it. And so that's my 4 games. These are the 4 games that I'm about to launch today. I'm excited for this Kickstarter, and if you are following me, then please do, whoops, didn't mean to do that. I was meant to do, there we go, Control V. So please check out kickstarter.com/project/buybez/games-about-stuff. Or I will set up a redirect just before I launch. Yes, I will do that. Um, I'm excited for these 4 games. Firstly, why 4 games? Why am I launching so many games at once? I explained that a bit yesterday, but just to reiterate, I need to print 1,000 at once. Not all 1,000 games need to be the same. Therefore, if I have multiple games at once, then it's a case of, okay, 100 of that, 100 of that, 200 of this, 150 of this, 100. And then with 6 different games, I can easily get up to the 1,000 that I need, even though I'm really not a big time self-publisher. I manage to reach an audience, and I'm really grateful that I do that. But yeah, why these games? Well, partially, these are the games that I feel have run their course as busy bargain bags and have already been proven that they work, and I'm proud of them. There's nothing left to change at all. It's going to be exactly the same cards, but just in a box. That's the reason that they've already proven themselves. And this is the model that I'm going to go to in future. Like in future, I will, like here's a game. This is literally the first copy that I opened. A game about quickly grabbing cards and judging them against free descriptions, which, yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on, but I'm really chuffed with how it came out. And yeah, it's hopefully going to be a lovely game. I'll see how people enjoy it at KCON. And being able to make a busy bargain bag, being able to say, yeah, £5 if I'm selling it direct, that's a price that I can charge. I can charge that at a convention. I can charge that on my website. Fine. For a shop, can I sell them at a decent price? No, I can't. But then, once it's done, I'll be selling my busy bargain bags. Once it's a second edition and it's like, okay, that's done. It's all as good as it's going to be. I'll up the price to, let's say, $7.50. That's my current thinking. So this one, it started off with double-sided cards, which were an interesting idea, but then I realized that A, single-sided cards, it means at the end, it's a lot easier to see, have you finished or have you not? And B, it allowed me to have more control over each card, because I want there to always roughly be an equal number of words and images in the ecosystem. And so, because you match words to pictures, so if there are suddenly too many pictures, then that's not great. So I want there to be a roughly equal split. And I've got a lot more control over that if I just use the one side, because with double-sided, that adds a lot more variance and things get removed from the ecosystem that I, as the designer, don't have any control over. And this is now working really well. It works for 224. I can see it, and I'm happy with it. Similarly, this changed quite a bit. Originally, this was exactly the same as Plus functionally, just with cats rather than pure abstract shapes. And it, yeah, after watching people struggle at UK Games Expo, I was like, okay, how about we add another color and we, yeah, only have one thing going on at once? Is that actually complex enough? Is that interesting enough? And it worked really well. Similarly, like this already works really well. I was happy with all the text. I didn't change anything, except for the second edition. I got Chris to add all these lovely little background images and all these unique, like Chris did 50 odd unique fronts just colored in to brighten up the table, which is just quite sweet. And yeah, this was already a good game, and like, just, hey, it's definitely working, and I'm not going to make any changes. And that's the thing, because I know they're working, I can say, yes, I've played them, I've watched them being played. Like hundreds is an exaggeration. Many, for some of them, many, many times. Some of them I've probably watched being played hundreds of times, and I'm happy with them. I can explain them properly. I can give you a good impression of when I say good, I mean an accurate impression of what they actually are. And so, yes, they are ready for being in a box. Whereas something else like a game about stuffing balloons as a team, but it's a card game, there are no actual balloons, that one needed a little bit more graphic design. And so, yeah, these four are games that I'm happy with. There are 2 speed games. I was considering, changing one of these. And why 4? Why exactly 4? Because 4 is a number that can, I don't have a large letter envelope, but fundamentally 4 is a number that can fit into a large letter envelope and still be still go through the post, and that makes it a lot cheaper to post internationally, and that's why 4. So yeah, let me quickly double check to see if there's been any questions on Twitter, as I did offer to answer anything. Nope, nothing yet. So if you have any questions about Kickstarter, design, these particular games, why I make games, anything at all, feel free to ask me. And for the next week, I will be, until this Kickstarter finishes, I will be answering whatever. But for now, let me ask question of the day. Question of the day. Here's a little question before we go on our way. Question of the day. So my question to you is, how important is a box to you? Like, does the fact that this is in a bag, but it's going to be in the small tuck box, and I don't have a tuck box beside me, does that actually add much value to you? I'm curious. Like, for me, I'm kind of, I don't really care. I would happily play it in a bag as long as it's got, a front and back cover. I'm really happy with that. But obviously, I understand, it doesn't have the side, which is slightly sad. On a shelf, it is harder to see what's going on here because it's not like you can print right on the edge. And although that would be cool if you could. But yeah, how much value does a box add to you personally? Timmy says, I like physical boxes and stuff when buying games, even though you can't do it for PC anymore. Yeah, I mean, so many games are digital only. My friend did make a bet with me. I think it was that by 2020, you wouldn't be able to find anything in boxes. And then, yeah, you can. I mean, I know that there's more and more things. When I say anything, I mean any video game. I know there's more and more video games only sold digitally, but you can still find some. Okay, so oh, we've got a quick question. So let me quickly answer this question from Chris, who asks, what is your favorite and least favorite thing about running a Kickstarter? Wow, that's a good question. I think that my favorite thing, if it happens, is that rush of, oh wow, people are actually supporting me, and oh my gosh, it's not just one person, it's actually multiple people, and this is amazing. People actually trust what I'm doing, that validation. My least favorite thing is the logistics afterwards. So yeah, that's a quick answer. And Timmy says, I remember when I was a kid, games had boxes, color manuals, and maps, and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I'm totally down with that as well. I oh my gosh, I love, sometimes you got these ridiculous things, like you might buy a Spectrum game, like this was before my time, but you actually got a proper book with like hundreds of pages, and the book wasn't a manual or anything. The book was just, hey, this game is vaguely based on this book. Here's the book, and you can read through the story, and then you can do that. And some of the games, they even had what they called feelies, where they were like little physical things, just so you could feel them and make it a bit more real. But you do still get some games that come that way, like certainly some Nintendo stuff, and yeah, I think a lot more console games come that way. But hello, Xate, it is lovely to see you. Neverwinter Nights from BioWare had a manual book that was an inch thick. Wow. And so, yeah, I'm just wrapping up and talking about, boxes. But over to you. What are you up to? You can share, but only if you want to. So what are you up to today? Today, I am going to finish putting together this Kickstarter page. Then I'm going to launch it. I'm going to make a wee trip to the bank. I'm going to, I get to chat to my friend. It's time for building the game with Jason and friends. Tabletop. I get to be on that show, so I'm excited about that. What else do I get to do today? Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'll, make sure to wander around. I might, I'll probably, I've got some things to cook. I'm going to do some peppers and some beef. Oh, and maybe even taste some more mead. Although I'm going to keep, a good number of the bottles closed. I decided that, yeah. So what are you up to? Training a new hire at work, and also going to try and pick up new glasses before work if I have time, before rush hour. Do you mean new glasses to drink out of, or do you mean new glasses for your head? Either way, I hope that goes well. Recap and wrap up before we finish up. So to recap and wrap up, a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after some mixed noises was basically the start of my busy bargain bag era, like phase. Yeah, I don't know what to call it. Is it going to be a phase that I grow out of? Maybe one day, we'll see. But then this is a remake, and it totally wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been able to do print-on-demand stuff in bags. And then this game, which was at Spiel 2019, and I said I would bring it out in the middle of 2020, but then stuff happened. But because of the busy bargain bag, I was able to make it, which was lovely. A game about quickly matching words to pictures, but never words to words or pictures to pictures. I'm really proud of how it cascades, how it seems super obvious. People always have the tiniest bits of struggle with, okay, there's an extra thing to think about, but people get on well with that. And this is just a super wholesome thing. I know some people are going to say it's not really a game. There's rules, there's agency, there's, some feeling of empowerment, I guess. And it's a game about drawing creatures, complimenting drawings and complimenting the compliments. And there's a slight competitive aspect in that you want your compliment to be one of the ones that gets complimented. And so the only way to do that is by giving the best compliments you possibly can. And so it's like the sweetest competition ever. And I did those 4 games because, yes, if I get to do 6 games printed at once, I can print them all in little tuck boxes thanks to print on demand. I want to print 1,000 at once, but they don't have to be 1,000 copies of the same game. It can be 100, 100, 200, 200. And so it will be a lot easier than just doing one thing. And for things, because it's easier to send, I'm excited. If you are following me, then I guess please do check out the thing, and it will be launched in a wee bit. So that is once more the link. At this point, at pretty much what I talked about. If you want to check me out, I am Stuff by Bez. If you want to check out my future streams, tomorrow with Alan Paul, I will be talking about Kickstarters and Essen. Thursday with Don Eskridge, designer of Resistance. I will be chatting about them and meeting them. Friday for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I will be at KCON and probably showing you a little bit more of KCON than I showed you of Spiel, just because at KCON, A, I'm in the UK, so it's slightly cheaper, and B, it's there's less going on, so I'm going to feel less concerned about I'm missing out every minute that I'm streaming. I'm missing out on stuff. But yeah. So anyway, please, as always, feel free to share, spread the word. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, picking up your eyeglasses or whatever else you're doing. The only thing left for me to say, as always, is lots of love and bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Do. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Do. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye, Xates and Timmy. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, anyone else watching. Bye-bye.